Hey guys, it's Cece, and today I am here to talk about some monthly recommendations. In case you don't know, Monthly Recommendations is a Goodreads group that was created by two lovely ladies, Kay Lorraine of the channel Kay Lorraine and Trina of the channel Between Chapters. I will leave the link to both of their channels as well as the Goodreads group down below so you can go and check it out. Basically, monthly recommendations, it's all right there in the title. Each month we get a theme of books to recommend to all of you, and we get to choose however many or however few books we want to recommend based on that theme. And the December theme is to talk about our favorite new-to-us authors of 2016. Now, this could be either authors that have been around for a while but were new to us this year, or we could talk about debut 2016 authors, or we could do a mix of both, which is the option I have chosen. So I have 7 authors that I discovered this year, whether that was because that was new to me or because they had their very first book come out this year, and I'm going to talk about all of them, the books by them that I have read, the books by them that I might want to read. Anyway, let's just jump right in, and we are going to start off by talking about the authors that were new to me, but were not debut authors. So let's jump right in. So the first author that I have to talk about and recommend is Becky Albertalli. She is the author of Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda, and somehow I had not read that book until this year. Now, of course, Simon is Becky Albertalli's first book. It was her debut, but it did not come out this year. Her next book does not come out until 2017, which is also exciting. But in case you don't know, somehow, Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda is a YA contemporary book set in high school. It's about a kid named Simon who knows he's gay, but he isn't out yet. And then someone he knows finds out that he is gay when he finds a series of emails that Simon has been sending to someone named Blue, and this guy threatens to reveal Simon's secret if he doesn't help him out with something that he needs help with. This is the cutest and the sweetest book, and that is what I just kept hearing, but it came true in a lot of really great ways. I think that Becky Albertalli's writing is really accessible and really fun, and it really captured the voice of teenagers, which I think is hard for YA authors to do. I think that this did a very good job of it, so I am anxiously awaiting reading more of her books. Like I said, The Upside of Unrequited comes out in 2017, I want to say April, and it sounds like it's going to be great. The lead characters are twin sisters. One of them is a lesbian, one of them is not. They're both Jewish. It sounds fantastic, and after reading this, I have high hopes. The next author that I discovered this year was E.M. Kokie. She is the author of Radical, which is the book that I read by her. It came out this year, but it was not her first book. Her first book was a book, I believe, called Personal Effects. I don't know a ton about that, but based on the writing of Radical alone, I definitely want to look into Personal Effects. Radical is a story about a girl named Bex, and she is a survivalist, so she thinks that the world is going to come to an end, so she's been preparing for this. This means that she knows a lot about guns. It means that she's prepping for survival, whatever kind of survival she may need to use. She's also a butch lesbian, and it is about navigating her identity along with her fears, and it is superb. It is one of the most original and striking pieces of YA that I've read. I think that it is unlike any other YA that I've read, not only because it has a butch lesbian protagonist, which, doesn't happen in YA. The only other one that I'm aware of is Girl Man's Up by Emmy Girard, which also came out this year, but I haven't read yet. But this was phenomenal, and I absolutely loved it, and I would definitely want to check out some of E.M. Kokie's other books. The next person that I want to talk about is Dawn Kurtagich. I just barely read her book, The Dead House, which is a couple of years old at this point, but she just had a new release come out a couple of months ago called And the Trees Crept In. It has an alternate title in other countries, but I don't know what that alternate title is. The Dead House is a super creepy story about this girl. She has dual identities. During the day, she's Carly. During the night, she is Caitlin. And this is a multimedia sort of book where it's told through, interviews and emails and such, and basically we know something terrible happened to Caitlin/Carly's school and that they were somehow involved, but we don't know what that something is, so we're slowly learning about it. It is creepy and suspenseful and fantastic. It's weird, but it has so many elements that were just wonderful, and I am desperate to read And the Trees Crept In because I am totally sold on Dawn Kurtagich's ability to write creepy So definitely glad I found her this year. And the last author that I want to talk about that was not a debut 2016 author is C.B. Lee. The book that I read by her this year was, of course, Not Your Sidekick, which was a 2016 release. However, she has another book, I believe, called 7 Tears at High Tide. I'm pretty sure that one has a bisexual protagonist, just like Not Your Sidekick, and I think it's about Selkies? I'm not 100% sure, but I really want to read it. If only for how much I adored Not Your Sidekick. Not Your Sidekick takes place in a future world in which a lot of people have superpowers. So Jessica Tran is our lead character, and her 2 parents are both the superheroes of her town. However, it doesn't seem like she has inherited their superpowers. So she gets an internship, it's gonna be great, it's gonna prep her for college, and then she finds out that this internship is for the town's villain. Oops. Plus, she finds out that she will be working alongside her crush, Abby. So, fun, fantastic superhero story, bisexual main character, engaging, fun, and I am dying for the sequel, Not Your Villain. So now I have 3 2016 debut authors that I want to talk about, and the first of those is Audrey Coulthurst. She is the author of A Fire and Stars, which I know I have talked way too much about at this point, but I don't care. Basically, A Fire and Stars is about a princess named Denna, and she is engaged to the prince of a foreign kingdom, and she gets there, and she starts to fall in love with the prince's sister instead of the prince, and that causes all sorts of political issues. Not to mention the fact that Denna has control of fire magic, and in this new kingdom she's marrying into, magic is not allowed, so Denna has a lot of stuff to work out. This story is about queer princesses falling in love. It filled a void in my chest. Basically, it just felt right. It felt like the story I had been wanting for years. To see 2 princesses fall in love was such a wonderful, cool thing to me. I hope there are plenty more in the future, but this was just a level of special to me. The romance was fantastic, and I have completely fallen in love with following Audrey on Twitter as well. She is so funny, and I cannot wait to see the books that she writes next. Another debut author this year was Meredith Russo. Her debut was If I Was Your Girl, which I read back in July, I want to say. It is a YA contemporary about a trans girl named Amanda. She's experienced something at her previous high school, and so her mother sends her to live with her father so she can start fresh in this new high school. At this new high school, her plan is just sort of to lie low so that she can get through high school and leave the area that she lives in. She doesn't really feel safe in her identity, so she doesn't want a lot of people to know that she's trans, or most of her classmates, she doesn't want them to know that she's trans, but then she also starts falling in love with a boy there, and there's a romance. This book is trans own voices fiction, and this book was one of the most realistic portrayals I have ever read of the, like, nerdy teenager. I think that character can be done so badly, and I've seen it done so badly so many times. But instead of being like Fangirl, where it was about the fact that Amanda had these like nerdy interests, it was just a part of her character, and it would kind of exist. I think at one point she's drawing like fan art for Sailor Moon, I want to say. It's something along those lines, but it's not really called attention to. It's just something she's doing. I don't know. This book had a lot of incredible stuff to say, and I think that it's a book that a lot of people should read. But one of the things that I appreciated most about the writing of it was that right there, which is one of the reasons I am so enthusiastic about finding out what Meredith's new book is going to be about. I've seen the title, but I don't really know that much of what it's about yet. I think it's not coming out until 2018. So, curious about it. I think Meredith Russo just had some really excellent writing in this book. So, looking forward to more stuff from her. And the last debut author I want to talk about is actually the only author on this list that is not a YA author, and that is Tiffany Mcdaniel. I read her debut, The Summer That Melted Everything, this summer, and the writing of this book was just gorgeous. It was evocative, it was interesting, it pulled you into the story and created this atmosphere. It takes place in the 80s in the Midwest, and basically what happens is that there is this person, Autopsy Bliss, and he challenges the devil to come into town, and then shortly afterwards a young black boy named Sal appears claiming to be the devil, and that is the year that Ohio has its like hottest summer in decades or something like that. It is phenomenal. It is one of the darkest books I've read. Like, it's fiction, but it handles some really tough subjects, but it does it with such ease. And as soon as I finished it, I wanted anything else that Tiffany Mcdaniel wrote. I think that she has the potential to become one of my favorite writers. I just think that she showed such a level of skill as a debut author, and I highly recommend that you check out this book if you haven't already. Okay guys, there you go. Those are my recommendations for authors that were new to me in 2016, regardless of whether they were new to everyone else. I hope that you've enjoyed. I hope that you check out some of these authors and their various books that are out or will be coming out. I hope I've added to your TBR a little bit. Oh, and if you happen to have a favorite debut author of 2016, or really any new release 2016 book that you want to rave about, maybe you should check out the Booktube Y-A Awards. Link in the description. Voting ends December 31st, and if you go, you can vote for your favorite 2016 YA release. Plus, you can enter some giveaways, so make sure to go do that as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to go check out the Goodreads group and Trina and Kayla's channels, and I will see you in another video very soon. Bye!